not getting the mail. You know, you remember the post office motto, what is it? Neither rain nor snow nor heat or gloom of night, you know, all that kind of stuff. So, we've been sort of spoiled by that, and that's been the expectation. And even I see Deb Fitzgerald from the Pulse. You know, last week I didn't get my Pulse. So I think that, it is interfering with people's everyday lives. So in my office, we talked with Dave Ward, the mayor, and he's been very responsive and looking into it. We've talked to the post office, and to their credit, they have tried to provide us with answers. Because we don't really have a role, obviously it's a federal issue, but they come to us, so we need to be able to give them answers. And the main thing we've been doing, though, of course, is to refer them over to Congressman Gallagher's office. And they are always, they have a great office there with great staff, and they're very responsive. And Kelsey here, I think, has been the one that's been spearheading this, but David as well. They've always been so good about that. So today we brought in Congressman Gallagher to talk a little bit about the problem and what might be done about it.
Great, thanks Joel, appreciate it. Joel and I just came from we were at Southern Door High School and celebrating a young man, Thomas Jackson, who got accepted to the West Point Military Academy. And great young man, great young kids here in Door County. Love to be in Door County. Though it is an hour drive from where I live, it's not like you're in the middle of nowhere off the edge of civilization, right? And Sturgeon Bay is a thriving city, and so the residents here should expect to have their mail delivered on time. And as Joel pointed out, the situation now is unacceptable. My office has received multiple calls, as has Joel's, as has the mayor, regarding issues with U.S. Postal Service mail delivery. This dates all the way back to November. As I'm sure Rep. Kitchens and the mayor can attest, anytime a constituent calls our office, we take it very seriously. A lot of the business we're in is just solving problems for people in Northeast Wisconsin. But when a veteran calls my office and says they're worried because they won't receive their prescriptions on time because of inconsistent mail service, that's not just highly concerning, it's completely unacceptable, and it's something that shouldn't happen. But as everyone in this community knows, this isn't just a small problem. We've all been working on dozens of cases for individual constituents not receiving their mail in a timely fashion. Joel mentioned the pulse. He's very disgruntled if he doesn't get his pulse every week. You don't want to see it when Joel's unhappy. We're more than happy to handle these cases as they come in, but it's abundantly clear that this is a broader issue that just needs to be fixed immediately. I understand the challenges that weather and staffing may pose to mail delivery here in Sturgeon Bay. Additionally, I'm confident each and every postal carrier is doing everything in their power to help deliver routes. However, the issue is not new. It's now gone on for multiple months, and it's become clear to me that further action has to be taken. And that's why today we are sending an official letter to Postmaster General DeJoy asking him to share his plan for alleviating this issue over the long term. We were glad to hear that additional Postal Service employees have been hired here in Sturgeon Bay. We understand the challenges of finding people in a labor market like this. We spent months now requesting a briefing from the Postal Service to hear the plan of action. Those requests have been met with silence, and it's time to explore additional avenues to rectify this issue. A letter may not seem like a lot. I'd rather just have resolved this without anything formal, but we're prepared to keep asking in louder and more intense ways until we get a sense of how this issue is going to be fixed. We have an open line of communication with the Postmaster General. He can call me anytime, day or night, rain, sleet, snow, shine, all that, to give us update on solutions to restore mail delivery in a timely fashion in Sturgeon Bay. Because whether it's a veteran who needs their life-saving medication or a mom and dad just trying to pay their bills on time, we rely on the Postal Service. They do an incredible public service for us. It's a noble profession. We just want to get this issue fixed. I want to thank, again, the postal carriers for their hard and thankless job and reassure Sturgeon Bay community residents writ large that we're working to rectify the issue. I want to thank Joel in particular. He's right, it's in my lane of responsibility, not his as a state legislator, but he's always phenomenal to work with on issues like this, always willing to do whatever is necessary, a team player, and just a great representative for this area. So with that, I'll stop talking, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have, unless I screwed up the agenda here. No, we're good. Mail, let's get the mail. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Deb with the Peninsula Pulse, thanks for coming here to talk about this issue. Can you also find out, the Pulse has lost thousands of dollars, and Door County Living Magazine and Peninsula Pulse is not being delivered.
Yeah.
So can you also request how they intend to compensate businesses that actually
Absolutely.
have not had their mail delivered? And in addition,
Have you lost subscribers, by the way? Have some of your subscribers blamed you for the lack of delivery?
They did originally, back in
Interesting.
November when this first started happening, and they would be calling our office. We let them know, because not everybody understands that
Sure.
we deliver them to the post office, pay them to deliver them to every single mailbox in Door County, which is 20,000 some mailboxes. So they did at first, but now we've redirected them, but of course there's just a stone wall, there's really no place to call.
Sure.
I'm curious if you've had this issue pop up in your district elsewhere, because I understand it's not necessarily endemic just to the post office here.
We have, it's highest concentrated here in Sturgeon Bay, but David, where were the other big pockets that we've been getting constituent complaints from?
Yeah, we've had an issue in Peshtigo.
That's right,
in the past,
Peshtigo.
like some areas of northern Marion County.
Yeah. I mean, as you expect, as you get sort of more out, but again, I mean, Sturgeon Bay is, it's not like a big city, but it's, it's not the North Woods. So on your first question, that request is not part of the letter, but certainly when the Postmaster General sits down for the briefing, I will make sure we ask that question. If you're willing to arm us with whatever statistics or anecdotes you have, that I could convey that to him, that would actually help. That would help a lot. But you have my assurance that I will bring it up.
Okay.
Other questions?
So you said you've been met with silence. Does that necessarily mean you haven't heard from the Postal Service or Postmaster General at all, or was there at some point where there was a little bit of communication?
They've had generic responses saying we've received your request, but nothing that would resemble an actual answer to the questions. Certainly I've had no outreach from the Postmaster General or any senior leader from the Postal Service, unless there's something I missed. Unless something ironically got sent to me in the mail and then got lost or not delivered.
Now, have you heard from a lot of people, like in terms of maybe how long some of these delays are? Is this stuff they're just not getting, period, or is it eventually getting there?
No.
Yeah, I've had people say they have gone a week without getting any mail. Very frequently, people are going a couple of days. So, but it's been a lot.
But sometimes you don't know what's lost, right? Like you don't know what mail you're gonna get all the time.
Right.
You may
Yeah,
be expecting some, but other things it could get lost and no impact, no idea, right? And that could be an important document that you didn't even know you needed.
Yeah, I don't know that we've heard of people losing mail so much as just long delays. Although with the Pulse, apparently they don't deliver it at all if it doesn't go out on Friday, right? So.
Do you know about in total how many complaints you have gotten?
Oh gosh, overall, I don't know the precise number. I'd say, I've said over 20. I mean, less than 100, more than 20. Let's say that. Yeah. So. But I guess can I just say one thing? Like, the fact that we normally don't get complaints like this suggests that, the carriers do a good job, right? So there's something unusual happening here, and we just want to fix that abnormality.
Do you have any understanding of what that abnormality is?
We have theories, yeah. Some suggest it's a pure workforce constraint, or it could be Amazon contracts.
Yeah, I think those are the two sort of. They will tell you when we call the post office that they have, they're short on workers, have not been able to hire, and that is the job market. I mean, it used to be, if a job opened up in the post office, they'd have dozens of applicants, and I don't think that's the case anymore. And then the Amazon thing, I mean, last week, the day I didn't get your Pulse, at 6 o'clock at night, the post office came to deliver a package from Amazon. So, and he said he had, a lot of work, a lot of deliveries yet to go. So that clearly is playing a role in it.
Yeah, so the question is whether the prioritization of Amazon sort of affects the delivery of non-Amazon mail. I don't know the answer to that question, but that's why we want it.
How long should people expect these delays to continue?
Well, I can hear the letter hitting the Postmaster General's desk right now. My hope is he'll call me before the end of the day and we can get it resolved. I don't know, I can't put a timeline on it. But this is something in my mind that should be able to be resolved quickly. Now, we've been dealing with it since November, so I just don't want it to stretch on for another month or 2 months. So we're hoping to get it quickly resolved.
I think during the holidays, you know, of course, we were a little more understanding that they had that huge volume of mail, but it didn't really get better after that, so.
Yeah.
Chris Clough, Door County Advocate. Besides sending the letter to the Postmaster General, is there anything else that you as a U.S. Congressman can do to spur some action from the Postal Service?
I have a platform through which I can highlight the issue, because it isn't, I'm not on the committee of jurisdiction. I personally could not subpoena the Postmaster General to appear before a hearing because, as much as mail is an important part of our economy, I'd have a hard time justifying that it's part of my duties as chairman of the Select Committee on China or a subcommittee on the Armed Services Committee,
Sure.
But again, it shouldn't even get to that point. I mean, I've worked with the Postmaster General in the past. He's briefed us. He's very, very thoughtful on a lot of issues, and so I think we just need to get his attention. And I understand, the Postmaster General is overseeing everything, right? I mean, it's not, he delegates authority to deal with issues in Wisconsin in general and Sturgeon Bay in particular. So it's probably just not on his radar screen, and I don't fault him for that. We just need to get it on his radar screen and so that he can fix it.
In Minnesota, they've actually audited 4 different facilities in the Minneapolis area. Is that something that you see might be a thing that has to be done here in Sturgeon Bay?
If it persists, I mean, if this keeps going on and on, but we just don't know. I mean, we just don't know enough about the cause, and I don't know. Again, my hope is that it wouldn't get to that point, and we certainly don't want to get to the point where we look like Minnesota. Just in all things, sports, mail, yeah, be bad luck.
I'm curious about the relationship between Congress and the post office, because it looks like you are considered requesters under the Freedom of Information Act, in that there would be a government relations committee that actually deals with these kinds of things. Since the post office isn't supported by US tax dollars, I'm just curious how much leverage we can actually bring to bear upon the Postmaster General.
Yeah, I don't see that as reducing our leverage. I mean, certainly we taxpayers have provided assistance to postal employees, and we just negotiated a huge thing last Congress over pension benefits and postal reform. There's been various post office issues that have drawn congressional scrutiny. There were a variety of claims, for example. I don't even want to relive this because they were so ridiculous about removing of mailboxes to prevent ballots from being delivered, a lot of misinformation that we had to investigate. So there's clearly, enough precedent where Congress can ask hard questions of the post office. And like I said, the Postmaster General has, in a proactive manner in the past, briefed members of Congress. I've been in discussions with him, and so there's nothing I think structurally or legally that should prevent us from getting answers to the questions that we've asked. Sir.
Yes, you had mentioned the hearing from the veteran who was worried because his prescriptions weren't being delivered in a timely manner. Have you heard from your constituents, either of you, any other examples of constituents who have had something extraordinarily, had an extraordinary problem with the mail, in that sort of situation where it'd be potentially threatening to their health or their life or their well-being or anything like that?
I'm not sure I would characterize anything as threatening health or life per se. The veteran example was the most conspicuous.
Right.
I guess I can make an argument that if Joel is not informed with the daily news, it impacts his mental health, by extension, the health of the entire community. But that would be a stretch. Yeah.
And I wish I could remember some actual stories, but there were some that were very concerned that they had important things coming that they weren't getting. I don't know if Kelsey remembers any.
I think bills were the biggest concern.
Yeah, general financial anxiety.
Right.
Yeah, bills not being sent in
Yeah.
a timely enough manner to be paid,
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
There's concerns about the other way too, right? Like if I'm paying a bill, will it get there? Will it get where it's supposed to be on time? Like am I going to
Good
face
point.
negative financial consequences because of that?
Of course.
Excellent.
Sorry.
Joel, this is just specific to Sturgeon Bay, right? Sister Bay, Egg Harbor, that's still operating?
Yeah, I don't believe I've heard any, it's not I mean, it's the towns around Sturgeon Bay as well, which I assume this post office
Yep.
serves all of those, but I don't recall any in the other parts of Door County.
Okay.
Just the Sturgeon Bay Post Office.
And Washington Island still relies on carrier pigeon for most of their communications, so not an issue there. Just kidding.
Could you repeat again what USPS has told the both of you as to why this is happening?
They've told us almost nothing, yeah, almost nothing.
I will say the local post office has said it's a labor shortage.
Yeah.
Really, that's what, and I mean, there were some weather incidents too, but primarily they said just a labor shortage. They can't hire people.
Great. Thank you all.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.